there's necessary selfishness that comes with being an entrepreneur. I think it is an uphill climb when you decide to parent and when you decide to be an entrepreneur. Both of those things are going to require like all of you all the time, which isn't possible. So there's going to be like constant letting one slide while you push one up, and then letting that one slide while you push one up. And hopefully there's enough gap in between the times you don't have your hand on the other one that they're both steadily moving up that mountain. You're getting everything. You're your boss. You set your wages. You set who you work with. You set what your day looks like, what your night looks like. Like, you have asked for all the freedom in the world to be the commander of your ship. And now you also want to drag other people along with you on that experience.
The word choice of drag.
I love that.
But let's really talk about how you transform your, might I say, basic, old school, trifold bathroom mirror.
It's just pretty basic, yeah.
Into a Broadway production on the regular. Can we talk about that?
You know, the mirror thing has been such an interesting case study in like being fully authentic. It's like a small, impossible space to create in. That the challenge is ultra creative for me. I think sometimes people aren't using their hurdles or the obstacles as kind of a way to craft the content. Start with a challenge, because there's nothing interesting if there's no problem.
And that is why we're all chaos junkies, guys.
The challenge is the way.
The challenge is the way.
I've seen a lot of people think that a system is going to be the solution. I went to this meeting, I heard about this thing, that's going to be it. That's what's going to get me to start posting videos. Actually, what's going to get you to start posting videos is like you posting the videos, right? Just because it's hard doesn't mean it's not worth doing it.
Clever Crew, today we are joined by none other than the creative force behind the viral bathroom mirror videos that have taken social media by storm, Daniel Coffman. With just a trifold mirror and his unmatched creativity, Daniel proves you don't need fancy equipment or a full production team to create content that resonates and inspires. Whether it's through his innovative approach to content or balancing work and family, Daniel reminds us that our perceived limitations aren't always obstacles, they're opportunities for creativity. So today we're diving into Daniel's journey and learning how he's mastered the art of turning simplicity into pure magic. So, Clever Crew, today we are in for a treat. We have with us Daniel Coffman. And if you've seen any of his videos, you are just going to know what type of energy today is about to bring. So we are super excited to have him here. And it was really hard for us to lock him down because he's everywhere, including a trip to Turkey that he recently took that I thought we might touch on because, as you know, we stalk all of our interviewees here at Not Nice Clever, and we did some internet stalking, and he shared a lot about his trip to Turkey. So before we dive in and talk all about your social media success, do you want to share why you were so hard for us to lock down?
Yeah, you know what? It was a number of things. I will say, since the shift in attention on my Instagram page, like my availability amazingly has changed. Like, I went from kind of just doing the same thing every day to doing some way bigger things than I thought I would be doing because of it.
All because of social media.
All because of social media. And the trip to Turkey was definitely like one of them. I was hosted by a clinic for a hair transplant, which is something I have wanted to do forever, and just like wasn't, like financially, I didn't feel like that was like an option for me after checking prices in California, and they charge you like per hair here, and in Turkey it's amazingly affordable. So when they asked if I'd be interested in a partnership, I was like, where do I sign?
They're like, sign me up. I'm
there. So yeah, when you reached out, I was like, I feel like I'm gonna look really terrible. I won't even be able to wear a hat or anything like that. Like, let's pause for a minute. But I'm so glad we're here. Yeah,
here we are. And how are you feeling after the procedure? Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm like just over 30 days out. It is like I do like a lot of updates on my page about it and stuff, and I'm starting to kind of lose the donor hair that they retransplanted. But for the first I don't know, I would say like after the first 7 days until now, I felt amazing, like super confident, super sexy. I'm like, oh my gosh, I had this like really hardcore buzz cut. And so now I'm, thank you. Yeah, yeah. It's been a really good experience, and they make it feel so safe and comfortable like while you're there. It was never a question of like safety or anything, and that was like my biggest probably concern going in. It was kind
Yeah,
of like a limiting belief around it, but it felt like anything that I would do here.
that is so cool. And was this connection, this partnership, was this made online?
Yeah, it was. It was. I mean, I don't even remember how this company reached out to me. There have been like a number. Usually, it starts with like a DM, like something that I even have to accept the DM. And I feel the Rama, my coordinator, she's so tenacious. Like she hunted me down a lot. Like you guys, she just like hunted me down. Yeah, she like called my work, and she's like in Turkey, so she's like using WhatsApp and stuff. Like it was crazy, but yeah, she finally got a hold of my partner Jason, and he like blew her off because it sounded so fishy. And finally we connected like on an email, and she just like kept at it, kept at it, kept at it. So
I love that because our clever crew is often like, but I don't want to be on social media. Is that actually going to help me? And Kat and I are always preaching how it not only is going to help you in your business, but it's going to help you in your life. It's going to help you in your friendships. It's going to help you in all aspects if you're using it right and if you're focusing on connecting with the right people.
yeah,
And so I love that you're sharing like this like personal kind of side note that's not necessarily to do with business, but is actually going to impact your confidence and how you're going to want to show up. I know that if I never had braces, I would have been less likely, and I had them as an adult, like later in life. I think I got them off when I was probably 30. Like if I never had braces, I don't know if I would have shown up in the same way on video because I had more confidence after that. So
yeah. Invest in yourself, and yeah, and be yourself on online. I've maybe, and this is maybe like a comment for later on in the conversation, but I do think that that is possibly like the biggest shift we can observe in social media is like, even if you were a business owner that got on Instagram or any kind of social media to promote your business, what you should be seeing now is that like the way to promote your business is by promoting yourself, and you're just like your business is just like a small extension of you. Like Instagram is all about curating conversations around shared interests and not about what my business is doing today and what I can do for you constantly. That's like more of like a LinkedIn thing, right? It's like
yeah, different
Instagram.
culture.
Yeah, Instagram really should be about the people that are connected to the things that we share interests in. So keeping the conversation there and keeping the content there, I think, is like the most valuable switch anyone can like really start to think about.
Totally.
Yeah.
So we've talked a little bit about transformation. We've talked a little bit about, taking next steps to transform yourself. But let's really talk about how you transform your, might I say, basic, old school, trifold bathroom mirror
It's just pretty basic. Yeah.
into a Broadway production on the regular. Can we talk about that? Because some might be like, oh, I don't know if I want to post my trifold mirror because it's a little bit old, but you've been able to transform that entirely. Can we talk about that?
So yeah, that the mirror thing has been such an interesting case study in like being fully authentic, just like from every aspect, right? Like I'm showing kind of every facet of my personality, my interests, my insecurities are kind of even out there for all of us to laugh at. And like I spent, I would say, probably the first 10 years of like the home staging journey trying to be the most impressive, the most polished, the most like magazine cover I could be in like every aspect of life. And at a certain point that just like stopped resonating with me. It just didn't feel, it felt like a very stale message to talk about online. And it also felt like this isn't actually how I'm living. Like, yes, I live in an orderly space, but I'm not obsessed with it. What I'm obsessed with is like expression and performance and levity and theater and comedy. And the minute I started like embracing those things, which coincidentally happened right after our national conference for homestagers, we had this big summit in Las Vegas, and I was surrounded by all these people that were at like the top of their game, and then everybody else that's also looking at those people, and I'm thinking like, man, that I'm not super far away from that at this point, but it's really not feeling like anything to me. Like, my business is one thing, it's what I do during the day, but there's not a part of me that's like really present in my social media. So I came back, I saw Christina Julian doing a mirror video to What You Say, the Jason Derulo Imogen Heap mashup.
Yeah.
It was iconic. It filtered throughout the TikTok internet waves for a while. A lot of people recreated it. I was one of those people. That's the first time I ever saw it. And that video did so much better than anything I had ever posted before. And I was constantly trying to apply this like creative, like this inner performer. Like, how do I make home staging meet me? And like, it was like this weird theater that wasn't meant for what I was trying to do in it. Theater meaning like the niche, like home staging, real estate niche, and all that stuff. And when I saw someone else doing something that I would love to do, and I tried it and it was received, I thought, I want to do it again. And then I'm going to do it again. And then it changed into not just like flipping the mirror out and lip syncing, but then like incorporating dance, which is like a huge part of my background. It's like a huge part of who I am. I was a dancer before I started in the real estate and design industry. It was actually like kind of a compromise because I just kind of felt like I couldn't dance anymore, you know? And I've been living under that kind of like veil of I'm a home stager, not a performer anymore for too long, until it kind of like finally just had to shift for me. But the attention that came from it gave a lot of validation to it. And I mean, it's kind of sad actually that I'm doing something that I would have loved to have been doing only because now there's like thousands of views supporting the activity, right? But it is getting over like the initial hurdle of like, am I showing up in a way that's like really authentic, like truly authentic, or am I just like doing the authentic trend and trying to be less polished about my business, which is how I was treating Instagram. You know, now it is literally like the place I go to feel most like myself.
It feels like you came full circle, you know?
Yeah. It was a really, so I know we're going to talk about parenting in a little bit too. Like, parenting did have like kind of a big role in all of this because, you know, I do want to be a well-known creator. I do want to be like a well-known performer. And the reason that like the well-known part of it is important to me is because it's kind of like your barometer of how well you're doing. Like, it's the read of your greatness or like how your talent is hitting, right? I so badly want to be like that no matter what I'm doing. I was always like, I was the guy in the bank and working at the bank who was like a teller. It was a terrible teller, but like super funny, right? Because all I was doing is just like looking for a new opportunity to perform. Yeah. So now that I have found like this venue that is like perfectly suited for that, I do feel like coming full circle. And because the way parenting fits into all of this is like, it limits my time. It like shuffles my priorities. And unlike a lot of performers who can dedicate all of their creative resources and time and energy to kind of their craft, mine has to be so efficient. And working, especially now that I'm dedicating as much time to it as I am, like, I'm saying to the world, like, look, I'm trying to do this professionally.
No, not trying. You're doing
it. yeah.
You're
I mean,
it.
I'm going to be doing this. Yes. Thank you for that. I'm going to be doing this professionally. And I want everyone to see the like consistent, earnest work that goes into it. But for that to be possible, like I'm not just like an 18-year-old TikToker who doesn't have kids or doesn't have like a house and a business. And like,
Responsibilities. Yeah.
yeah, I have to do something that works for my life. And I think that when people look at content, they have great ideas. They have like no, there's so much creativity out there. That's not the problem. It's like how to produce it. And I finally found something that like feeds me creatively, is efficient enough to create on a daily basis, and also helps grow that like brand or that business, right?
I
Mm-hmm.
love it. I want to go back to something that you said. You said you want to be well known. And I think, we all have, many of us, I'll say, have that desire, right, to be well known. And I was at an event recently, with our good friend Neil Dingra, who was
Mm-hmm.
hosting an event in Arizona. And he had a slide in his slide deck that had like, two lines of text. And the first line of text, it said well known with a cross out right in between, like right over it, well known, cross
Yeah.
it out. And then below it, it said known well. Like your desire should be to be known well, meaning that you're showing up as your authentic self
Yes.
and you're showing your actual life and what you're actually working on and going through and what it feels like and how you feel that day. And that should be the true desire, because that's the point of connection that actually makes you memorable, instead of just being like, I want to be like, well known for like, I don't know, the popularity contest, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
that. You want to be known well because that's what's going to make the human connection. And that really stuck with me. And it shifted my perspective and I guess my language now around that.
Yeah, I really like that. That's gonna like stick in my ribs all day today. I can already tell. Like that's just um I wonder if there's space for both of those things
I think you become well known when you give people the opportunity to know you well. And
yeah.
so it's just,
Like the order of
what comes first. Yep,
operations.
exactly.
I similarly heard something that kind of shifted my thinking around the feeling I wanted people to get when they come to my page. And it was so, I don't remember what they were comparing it to. I think it was like don't be um don't give a hook, give comfort, like provide comfort, like
Mm.
make that be the hook.
Yep.
Like have it be an authentic feeling that when you get there, you're clearly getting that person's unfiltered self, that like a genuine person to connect with. And if you're providing comfort to people, humans are like need that. We just like,
Mm-hmm.
even if you have plenty of it, you just gravitate towards comfort. And I do, and it's weird to think of my brand as going from like a real estate home stager and then kind of like changing everything, filtering that out of the page, and now trying to become like a motivational or positive outlet for people to like get that comfort every day. That is kind of like the new goal, and it really shifted my perspective around like my why, for
As an
creating the
annoying
comfort.
coach, I need to stop you again because Daniel, you keep saying trying. And
Yeah,
and the thing is, like, we wanted you here because you're doing that.
I
We
appreciate
admire
that.
that. We
I
see it.
appreciate that.
And I love that you're unfiltered about wanting to have that validation. I think a lot of people don't admit that. I will be the first to admit it, that it does feel good to have somebody respond. It does feel good to see a comment, to receive a DM, to know that what we're putting out there is making an impact on people enough to the point to where they take a moment and they type that comment back, and then it leads to a conversation. People need to be more honest about that. And
Hmm.
I think that's a step toward being authentic. So I appreciate that you shared that unapologetically, because I feel the same.
Yeah, I think the power of a compliment or sharing like positive comfort too can just like it can really ignite. Like I read these comments and I think like, there's no way I can stop. Like there's just no way. It's
right. Especially for the lurkers who aren't even like parenting. Like
yeah.
every once in a while, I'll get a DM that says, by the way, I've been meaning to tell you, I really appreciate your videos. Or and I'll go back and they didn't, comment on it. But like if I had stopped, imagine,
I know. Yeah.
One thing you brought up, it's very top of mind for me and probably even more top of mind for Candace because at the time of us recording this amazing conversation, Candace is just a few weeks out from becoming a mom.
You are?
Yeah.
Wow.
20 days
She's cute
from
pregnant.
today. Or less.
Cute
Right?
pregnant.
Yeah, right? I'm
Yeah.
like, I can only hope. And it's also in my vision for the coming year to become a mother as well. So
Wow.
Daniel, selfishly, and even for like the clever crew who are parents and also entrepreneurial and want to make a mark and leave a mark, like how has that looked for you? Like, what are the questions you've asked yourself? Like, it's different for everyone, right? Everyone's vision for parenthood is different. But what did that exploration, kind of look like for you?
Parenting and specifically entrepreneurship.
Yeah, balancing the two and making peace with it.
I will say straight out, I don't think the two are very compatible. I think it is an uphill climb when you decide to do these two things together, when you decide to parent and when you decide to be an entrepreneur, because you're essentially, and this is why I think it's fair that it's an uphill climb, because you're getting everything. You're your boss. You set your wages. You set who you work with. You set what your day looks like, what your night looks like. Like you have asked for all the freedom in the world to be the commander of your ship. And now you also want to drag other people along with you on that experience. And
The word choice of drag.
I love that. I mean, we don't give them a choice. Candace knows. Like,
right. No,
yeah.
because there's a certain amount of necessary selfishness that comes with being an entrepreneur. You have to believe in yourself enough to be like, you guys have to come along with me if you're going to be in my life, because like this is the plan and I'm so passionate about this. There's just no other way. That's the only way an entrepreneur is successful. So that comes at a cost a little bit. There will always be times, I think, where you're feeling like you're failing at one or the other, because to be superb at either one, it's going to take like all of you. And if you have decided to take on like more than just that one thing, you're shortchanging but something. I don't think that's a reason to not do it. I think that life is an experience, like it, and if you're not happy with the experience, it's like literally the only thing that matters. Yeah, what's the point? What are you doing it for? I think that remaining as flexible as you can be through that process, especially when like kids are super young and when your business is super young, knowing that it will likely never feel great, like that the greatness will be experienced looking back. And that's kind of like what the whole point is. I also think that entrepreneurs love a certain amount of chaos.
Yeah, I identify as a chaos junkie. Yep. It's
my partner recently told me he thinks I'm obsessed with chaos, and it's
Addicted to chaos.
it might be true.
Yeah, I could take that on. Add that to my plate. No problem.
Yeah, exactly. I think like embracing the chaos and just knowing that is just like what you signed up for. Like that's what you. It's an extreme lifestyle. That's what it is. Like, you think of these people that do like the Red Bull sponsored stuff and they jump out of a plane and you're like, that's someone's job. Or like even a firefighter that like, risks their life. Yeah. It's an extreme lifestyle. This is an extreme lifestyle. Being an entrepreneur is an extreme lifestyle. You have like no structure other than the structure you've set up for yourself. And that alone is like a very scary thing,
Mhm.
you know?
So we're all crazy.
Yeah, we're all crazy. You have to be okay with being crazy. Yeah. And know that that the reward comes, I think, later, because the work is intense. It's intense.
Are there any systems or structures, routines that you've been able to implement in your life or business that have helped mitigate that at all? Or are we still in the exploration phase there?
I think that there are different seasons of life that require different structures. As a home stager for many years, we just shot from the hip, and it was like just me with all the ideas and me trying to translate those in real time to, people who are at like this qualification level and this qualification, and like that that almost ate us alive until we finally realized like that required a system, that required like that we needed more structure around that kind of communication for our business to actually function outside of what like I can physically do myself. um and I think like investing in those when the time is right is very important to do. Likewise, I think investing in something before you need it is kind of just as big of a waste of time. Like if you're if okay, I'm trying to like reformulate the question a little, or my answer a little bit. I'm sorry. I think simple is good. I think when your life is simple, it's good. Keep it simple, stupid is what like we say a lot around here. Keep it simple, stupid. And that plays out in my content right now. Like, yeah, I want to do some of the content that I used to do, like all these multiple shot things that would take me like a day to film and another day to edit and then a day to just kind of like watch it and get the courage to like post it. Yeah. you know and then like when do I post and all that stuff, like that wait is such a time waster. Like it doesn't fit my lifestyle. It doesn't do anything other than waste my time. The system I have set up right now is I film certain videos on certain days. I respond to comments from this hour to this hour, but my life requires that right now,
I
right?
love that. Yeah.
Later on, hopefully I will be able to have help doing some of that, as like the different platforms grow. But the growth was the same when I was doing home staging. The growth was the same as like a parent. There were some times in life where we needed a nanny, where we like I was paying more for the nanny than I was making personally, just so I could continue to be out like working.
Yeah.
And financially, that made no sense. Psychologically, that made
It's
enough
what you
sense.
needed.
Yeah, it made enough sense to do it.
Yeah.
So I think systems, structures are important. I do not think. I think like real estate agents in particular, because I've worked with them like so much, and are think that a system is going to be the solution. Sometimes they'll sign up for like a
The
mailing
solution, this
system.
one thing.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
if yes, I went to this meeting, I heard about this thing, that's going to be it. That's what's going to get me to start posting videos. Actually, what's going to get you to start posting videos is like you posting the videos, right? Creating videos.
That's how that
Say
works.
it again.
Yeah. So, I don't like systems for that reason. I've seen a lot of people think that a system is going to be the solution, but a system is just a tool. It's just a
Yep.
tool,
It's
and
just to
sometimes,
support you. It's
yeah,
not, it doesn't fix, it doesn't solve, it supports.
yeah.
So I have a good friend who is a broker in LA. She works with high level professional athletes. She's a real estate agent and she has a 6 month old. And this just happened yesterday. So I feel like it's super relevant. Yesterday in her Instagram story, she's like out with the baby, like baby in the stroller. And she's like, new working hours 10 to 3. You want to see a house? I'll show it to you between 10 and 3. And I'm available for texts or calls before or after that. But here it is. If you want to work with me, I'm available from 10 to 3 unless you want to just call me, right? And I love that she put that out there, and I bet you there are agents or brokers who are like, she thinks she's going to be able to like build her business on those working hours. People need to see houses after work, whatever. But she knows her clientele, and her clientele don't have 9 to 5s, right? And she is creating a boundary that works for her that maybe doesn't make sense to the next person, but is what she needs right now. And I feel like her clients are going to be absolutely fine with that because they're also parents,
Right.
you know?
And her clients are likely people that respect people that have boundaries and that are like bold enough to
They're like,
say,
oh, she's in high demand. Like,
exactly. Yeah. Or just like, this is also super important to me. Like that gives me like a human reason to resonate with this person other than like, okay, so they've sold other homes in a similar price point. Great. Or this lady's a mom, she's a brand new mom, and she's like kind of a boss babe that's like willing to say, you can wait because I'm prioritizing this. Like
mm-hmm.
so many different ways to connect with her just from
Yep.
her being herself.
Yep. Amanda Allen, if you're looking for an
I was
agent.
going to say, this is Amanda, right? Like, fucking love Amanda. Boss. So I want to ask you, Daniel, one of the questions we get a lot from our clever crew, and sometimes Candace and I even find ourselves in these moments in like creative ruts, right? Like if we're just like, we want to post, we have the basic equipment, we know how we can do it, but how do you spark creativity? What's your creative process? And obviously it's different for everyone, but what have you found that works for you? Because you've been through different stages and seasons in your life.
When I was creating industry specific content for like real estate and home staging, I found my biggest source of inspiration from looking at creators in different niches and then applying what they were doing to my content. Yeah. Like food, makeup, anything I could take from it, from like how they're showing products or how they're just like where the camera is. Applying it as like a lens. This is definitely something that I learned in college going through like theater. Is kind of like how to examine a scene like many different ways,
Yeah.
and that's what I love about the bathroom. It's like a small, impossible space to create in, and the challenge as kind of like my structure to start in is ultra creative for me. So I think sometimes people aren't using their hurdles or the obstacles as kind of a way to craft the content. If you're a brand new mom that is struggling with creating content because you're like breastfeeding and stuff, and even just finding like enough time in between
To like get into that mode.
yeah, to get into that mode or set up your tripod, or like the minute you got it going, like the baby's crying again, make that work for you. Like incorporate the baby. Do this. Wow, be the breastfeeding real estate agent. Like you know what I mean? Like that is how like niched down niches are formed, is when like people are using their actual obstacles as something kind of like iconic in their content.
My husband Dom says the obstacle is the way. I think it's
Yes.
like a stoicism quote or whatever, right? The obstacle is the way. And so you're recording in this small, maybe not ideal lighting kind of space, and you're making it work. But with that, it's also a very, I don't know, intimate setting. Like we're in the bathroom with you. Like for
Yeah.
me as a woman, I'm like, that's where I connected with other women in
I
a
know.
bar
Yeah.
at
Right.
the club when I was young, right? Like that's where the real stories were told. That's where, that's where you get intimate. That's where you're looking in the mirror and you're thinking about how you look and how you want to be and how you want to show up in the world. And it's like such an intimate space that just by that setting, I'm already focused on who you are as a human being, you know?
It's relatable too. It's like an activity all of us do every single day. We look in the mirror. We're like, and we all kind of have seen that mirror or something, like similarly to the example of like a new mom agent. Like a lot of women are going to know what that feels like to be like quietly recording your content because you don't want to wake your baby because they just fell asleep, but your like boob is in their mouth. It's like, it's awkward, but it's like, it's relatable. Do you know what I mean? Like that is,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, showing up that way is what kind of draws people to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love that.
Using the obstacles is my biggest tip there. I think in home staging I always used to say challenge the space. Yeah, like we'd walk in and my first rule is like, I'm not going to set it up the way they had it. That's like the only rule. I can put furniture in here, any other formation, but like for them to have kind of that HGTV wow, like the homeowner and the agent, it's not going to be in the same formation. Now, sometimes the homeowners had it totally right. It needs to be in that way. But like, and that's where you end up. But that's not where you start. You start with a challenge. Like, because there's nothing interesting if there's no problem. That's the other thing.
And that is why we're all chaos junkies, guys.
Yeah. If there's no problem, you create it. Yeah.
And that's why we watch any movie or sitcom or whatever.
Arc,
yeah, we want to see.
If Frodo never left the Shire, we would have never fucking watched Lord of the Rings, okay?
Totally. Stuck around for 3 movies. Yeah.
Seriously. 3 long-ass movies.
Totally. But yeah, with no problem, there's no point.
Nope. On to the next. Yeah.
I mean, you should put that on a t-shirt.
Seriously, I would buy that. Let us know when you have your Shopify set up.
I know, gosh, so many different directions to take it all with. Yeah.
So one thing that we saw online is that you now are creating cameos.
Oh my God.
So you're on Cameo and you're creating custom videos for people. And that sounds so fun to me. How did you decide that was something you were going to take on? And what kind of cool stuff have you been creating over there?
So I'm really new to it. Like I've done only a handful and I love it. I love it. It feels so much fun. The thing I like most about it is the challenge a little bit is like you get this little blurb and it's kind of like a scene study, like here's my daughter, this is what she's going through, blah 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 blah, and that's all I get. And then I like want to create something that I feel like resonates, but that's like the initial challenge is getting kind of like my character study. It's so much fun. I decided to do it because I'm looking for ways to make money for me.
Monetizing.
Yeah. Instagram is the platform where I experience most notoriety. Unfortunately, Instagram doesn't pay their creators like at all. The partnerships that come through Instagram have been like amazing, and I can't wait for everyone to see some of the ones that are coming out. But like TikTok is a less familiar space to me. Getting paid per view is something that happens there, but it's not quite what it's interesting. I don't understand it at all. Like I don't know how to read the analytics or anything like that. It's like all of us, like I gotta do that. I gotta update my website. I gotta I do.
Yeah.
And
all the things that are
all the things, right? All the things. And like, this is the entrepreneurial thing. It's like
we're just like this, it's, yeah.
So Cameo was like, I didn't think I had enough followers, honestly, to even apply for it. I was at my folks' house over the holidays. And I thought, well, it's kind of interesting. What if I did personalized performances for people? I got on the thing. I was approved. I thought, wow.
Is there one that, I know you've done a handful so far, but is there one that stuck out to you as unique or different or fun?
Well, I recently got a request from a parents for their daughter. She's headed to this college program for Walt Disney World, and I was in that college program, and I don't there's no way they would have known that.
How crazy.
Please talk to you. They knew that.
They probably did, right? They went all the way back. But the connection between people is really, really fun. And
that's so cool.
All right, Daniel. So we have come to our not nice advice segment, and very excited because we had one of our clever crew write in. They signed this stretched too thin. So here's their question for you. A little over a year ago, I decided to finally take the leap and launch my own business. Eek, congrats. And while I love what I do, it feels like my workday never ends. My family just gets frustrated because I'm always just finishing one more thing, and then I feel guilty for not being present. When I try to spend quality time with them, I'm distracted, thinking about everything I didn't get done. Is this just the entrepreneurial way? How do I find a balance? It doesn't make me feel like I'm failing at both work and home.
Wow, we literally talked about this.
We did literally talk about this.
It's like the perfect podcast for.
Seriously.
It's something that is so closely linked to what's happening in my life right now too. Something I never experienced with any kind of fame was going to be the feeling of being able to give less of myself to the people that have been here the whole time. That seems so strange, but just the attention away from them has made massive effects in my family structure, and something that we're all like struggling with. To be fully transparent, like we're all really struggling with this. So my advice is to someone in the person writing in, is that you're embarking, like we said, on something that's almost impossible. Like you're deciding to man a ship essentially by yourself professionally, and you undoubtedly have like a very significant role in your family life. Both of those things are going to require like all of you all the time, which isn't possible. So there's going to be like constant letting one slide while you push one up, and then letting that one slide while you push one up. And hopefully there's enough gap in between the times you don't have your hand on the other one that they're both steadily moving up that mountain. And it's going to feel almost all the time like it might not be worth it. And that should be a constant consideration that you have. Is it worth it? I think in terms of supporting your priorities as a family I think in terms of supporting your family should be a priority. It will come probably less naturally to you than supporting your business. You're likely, if you've already decided to be an entrepreneur, you're probably already obsessed with what it is you're doing. You know, like I'm obsessed with what I'm doing. I don't have to think about when I'm going to make time for it. Like I'm compromising everybody else's time to do it. Finding flexibility from that aspect of your life, I think, is a way you can honor your family. Is about the only way you can honor your family, because they're typically going to be less flexible than what your business is. And remember, you're an entrepreneur in the first place because you wanted to craft your life. Like you wanted your life to work for you. You didn't want to work for somebody else. So make sure you're actually doing that. Like make sure your work is actually supporting your life. And if your family is a huge part of your life, it needs to support them also. This is something that is easily said and almost impossible to do.
But the challenge is the way.
This challenge is the way. And just because it's hard doesn't mean it's not worth doing it.
Oh. I'm going to just replay this episode 6 months from now and 9 months from now and 12 months from now. It's so much truth that you're speaking, and I really, really appreciate it. Candace and I both do.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity. This is like super relevant stuff in my life, and kind of like connects with just like anybody else. That's like really totally worth it. I think it's great what you guys do.
Thank you so much. We
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Love what you're doing.
And you're gonna both be like fabulous mothers. You have the energy for it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I really hope that the experience for you professionally and personally is rewarding.
Mm-hmm. Only one way to find out.
Yeah, right? The challenge is the way.
The challenge is the way. Love that.
Thanks for joining us on Not Nice, Clever.
Remember to follow Not Nice, Clever wherever you listen to audio.
And if you haven't already, drop that 5-star review.
Share your takeaways. Tell us your story. We love to hear it.
Signing off, you're not so nice, but oh so clever besties that mean business.
See you soon.